The president has disbanded his cabinet. I have to be very frank with you. I was living in denial. Irrespective of who I am, because I tend to believe I'm a few steps ahead of time. Many occasions I can even predict things that is going to happen. But this time around, I was living in denial. I had convinced myself and those around me that the president is not going to disband the parliament, the cabinet. Even after a local newspaper said, there is a local newspaper, I think it is a Standard, that said there was a cabinet meeting where they said Last Supper. I still believed that what the president would do would be maybe remove some cabinet ministers who are inefficient. And okay, I also believed that he would reduce the size of the cabinet, but I believed that he was going to just reduce. Let's say he wants a place like Meru. Meru, we have Kindiki, and we have the AG. And is there any other? I was thinking that in such areas, Luhya we have what? So you find that in such area, the area where you have 2 or 3 cabinet ministers, cabinet secretaries, I was believing that 1 or 2 would be removed. One would be removed so that they remain 2 or 1. That way, then ministries would be merged. That is what I was believing. But disbanding, it was never in my mind. I actually, everybody around was telling me it was going to happen, and I was in denial. You know what? I'm a human being. I must accept. Now, have we ever had such an occasion? I want to believe that this is the second time we are having such a thing. Jomo Kenyatta, when he was the president, the first president, he used to have a minister in one ministry forever. Bio Koinange, in the beginning, he was the minister for Pan-Africanism. But when the president became when Prime Minister Jomo Kenyatta became the president, Bio Koinange became a minister for office of the president forever. We had Angaine, Harvester Angaine, Jackson Harvester Angaine. He was the minister for lands and settlement forever. So you find that in those and what do you call Njoroge Mungai, he was the minister for foreign affairs forever. So Jomo Kenyatta never. The only time he would change is when there is an election, like in 1974, when Njoroge Mungai was floored by somebody called. It's a prominent family from Dagoretti, I'll remember, because 2 of the sons used to work with me in the police and the special branch. Johnston Muthiora. Yeah, Johnston Muthiora took over. So when Johnston Muthiora took over, that is when Munyo Ayaki. So Munyo Ayaki was made the Minister for Foreign Affairs. So what I'm trying to say is that during Jomo Kenyatta's time, you are a minister for something forever. There is this Kipsigis fellow. He used to research on malls. He was the minister for education forever. So during Jomo Kenyatta's time, what I'm trying to say is that you used to be given a ministry forever. You could stay there for as long as you are politically relevant. Then came Moi. Moi, there is even a minister who was called Cheruyot, who was appointed by a 1 o'clock news bulletin, and he was sacked 3 months later. He was made a minister for cooperative. No reason was given for his employment. No reason was given for his sacking. And I think he's the one who said he thanked the president for appointing him through the 1 o'clock news and sacking him for 1 o'clock news. So during Moi's time, we forgot to know who is the minister. You have to say that I think the current minister for this and that. So Moi used to reshuffle a lot. But I don't remember Moi ever breaking the whole cabinet unless it was around general election time. The person who did it first time and Ruto is doing the second time was Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki did it, and I'm going to compare and contrast Mwai Kibaki's and Ruto's. Uhuru never disbanded the whole cabinet, so it is only these two occasions. During the time of Mwai Kibaki, we had the first constitution referendum. And when we had that referendum, there are those people who joined the president in campaigning for the 2005 constitution. They were called the banana people. And there are those who were against, who were in orange. And I want to tell the younger Kenyans or the younger viewers why Kivyutu decided that the symbol should be an orange and a banana. You see, he said that he felt that when you, first of all, he wanted to place the fruits. So he said, when you are doing your maths, and you see this thing is right, you look at the constitution and say it is right. So you find something that is a tick, tick. So the banana looked like a tick. So you're saying yes. And the orange was 0 to say you have reduced it. It is nothing, isn't it? So when he placed those, of course, Raila and company went and formed Orange Democratic Movement. But he placed the orange to show that it is rejecting the constitution, and banana was to you accepting the constitution. There are those cabinet ministers, people like Raila and others, who went campaigning against the 2005 constitution. So when they went campaigning against 2005 constitution, when the results came, the then president Mwai wa Kibaki said he had accepted the people's verdict, and shortly after he disbanded the cabinet. He disbanded the cabinet. He remained with 3 people in the cabinet. He remained with himself. He remained with Moody Awori, who was the vice president, and he remained with the Attorney General Amos Sitswira Wako. Hapo Waluya tuliangaliwa, sio? So he remained with those 3. Now at that point, let us compare the 3 who have remained today. You know, that time the president had the power to fire vice president at any time. And we even stayed for about 2 years without a vice president. And he reinstated him in a roadside deal. That was the constitution there. But today's constitution, the deputy president is the running mate of the president. So we may never know Ruto's feeling. We may never know Ruto's feeling when concerning Riggy G. Maybe he would have wanted to sack him, maybe. But since the constitution bars him from sacking the deputy, then we may never know whether that is his intention. So Kibaki retained the vice president, Moody Awori, for the simple reason that Moody Awori was a very cooperative vice president. In fact, Moody Awori is the most cooperative to an extent that he was so humble. I don't think Moody Awori would tell the president to the eye something that was wrong. Maybe he would beat about the bush for the president to read between the lines. But the most effective vice president was Christopher Semiyu Wamalwa. Michael Christopher Semiyu Wamalwa. So the president then, Kibaki, retained the vice president because of their working chemistry. Ruto has retained Rigiji because he cannot sack him. Now, we do not know if he doesn't want him or he wants him, because he cannot even imagine sacking him. That one we lived to ando akamba ando maa kamote watufanyie kamote ndio tusome Ruto's heart. You get my point? Now we go to the third person. Kibaki retained the Attorney General. I would have even said that Ruto should have retained the Attorney General, but I'll come to that. The Attorney General was retained because he is the one to give the president legal advice. Now, Ruto does not have legal advice. I mean, on paper. That is why Amos Wako was retained. Now, let us come to today's disbandment. The Attorney General was not retained, if I can say it, because a few days before the cabinet was disbanded, a newspaper reported saying that he had said, there's a problem. I'm not jumping stories, but let me tell you, as a former special branch officer, I'll tell you, if you are the president's advisor, you are in a problem. You can advise the president that rain is coming, toa nguo nje itanyeshewa. Unarudia mara tatu, mtukufu rais, nimekwambia nini? Umeniambia nitoe nje, nguo zitanyeshewa. Na sitafadhali utoe. Haya, nimekusikia. Enda, nimekusikia. You come again, mtukufu rais, nimekwambia toa nguo nje, nimesikia. But when it rains on those clothes, the president, you are the fallback person. You'll even be sacked. Let me tell you. If you're the president's appointee or a president's advisor or anything, you will even be advised, and it will even be said that you didn't advise the president. You cannot go to the public and say, I advised him and he ignored me. That is what Muturi did. And that is what, I don't know if it is a fact letter, but there is a letter which Nuruddin Haji is said to have said things along those sides. You see, the president doesn't make mistakes. It is the advisors who make mistakes. You cannot go. So Muturi is going because he said, when people asked him, didn't you see this Genesis going to happen or not? He said, what can I do? Me, I just tell the president, and if he doesn't hear, see, that is the problem. That is the problem. So he's going. And if you ask me, who is going to be the AG? What time is it? This is my Congolese watch. It's telling me that when the new constitution is, when the new cabinet is reconstituted, Professor Kindiki is going to be the AG. It's going to be the AG. I've talked why the AG of that time was not sacked and this one is sacked, isn't it? Now, this time, Musalia amesalia, isn't it? Musalia amesalia na mwamba ameanguka kwa mwamba, isn't it? Yeah. Na Musalia has remained because of various reasons. One, Musalia is remaining because You see, if there's going to be a cabinet, I expect it to be a slim cabinet. So if there's going to be a slim cabinet and Mudavadi is not among them, people will say, you see, you had already started the process of integrating ANC with UDA. Now it has been swallowed, so he has to play it, especially with the Luya votes. That is one of the reasons why Mudavadi has been retained. Another reason why Mudavadi has been retained is that if Ruto was to be forced to have a vice president and not have a chief cabinet secretary, I think Ruto would have preferred working with Mudavadi. I think. So, and then then there is going to be a small cabinet. You see, during Kibaki's time, the cabinet was remaining of 3 people. Look at the 3 people who remained during Kibaki's time. Mudi Awori, Amos Sitswira Wako. That fellow would laugh at you. Even if you are holding a grass sliding to a creek, you tell him, am I okay? So Sitswira was a yes man. So Kibaki would not have a problem with Sitswira, isn't it? Kibaki would not have a problem with Uncle Moody because that was the most agreeable deputy head of state Kenya has ever had. But imagine, apart from Kibaki and not Kibaki, Ruto and Gachagua remaining the 2, imagine them disagreeing on something. There has to be a third person. There has to be a third person. And that is the third person most likely it's the best person to be the third person is the Attorney General, isn't it? And the Attorney General he was quoted in the public and he never denied it. He's quoted in public saying that he advised the president and what is he to do if the president does not follow suit. I expect a cabinet of 15 people. Mark my word, 15 people. And this is what is going to happen. If I tell you what is going to happen, this is Ruto's biggest chance for re-election. Anyway, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that this is Ruto's biggest chance of re-election. Now, what he's going to do, according to me, is going to retain 5 cabinet secretaries from this last list. Remember, Kindiki will be the AG. So look for 4 people to add on to Musalia Mudavadi. So I'll also look at the list nijaribu kuangalia nione who are the 4 who must be retained. Who must be retained. And in Rift Valley, or can I call it Kalenjin land, we have Chelugui. We have around 3. Expect to have 1 Kalenjin minister, cabinet secretary. And between me and you, it is possible all the Kalenjin cabinet secretaries will not come back. Look at Chelugui, look at Murkomen, look at whatever. And again, take it from me that Ruto can do anything in Kalenjin land without a threat of massive voter displeasure. But he has to play it very careful in the mountain area. By mountain, I'm not even meaning Embu and Meru, because in Meru, he'll just do something. The AG goes, Kindiki becomes the AG. So you'll find that Meru, they have 1 person and whatever. I'm talking of the mountain. Remember, he has to check on the activities of my Mufiala. I'm related to everybody, but I'm not related to Rigiji. But my mother is from Kayaba, a neighboring village to Rigiji, a place called Kayaba. Kayaba like this fence, you know. So that is why I call Rigiji my cousin, Mufiala. He will have to do a lot of balancing with whatever happens in Kikuyu land, because on one hand, he'll be very careful with placing there some people who are completely pro-Rigiji. He will have to mix with the pro-Rigiji and anti-Rigiji. Because if you place all the pro-Rigiji, 2027 Rigiji can run off with the mountain. And again, if you take everybody anti-Rigiji, Rigiji will start fighting you. And you know, Kenya's history, we tend to sympathize with the underdogs. So he'll be very careful with what he does in the Kikuyu land and also in Nyanza area. Nyanza area, Owalo has been one of the most effective ministers. But you see, for somebody to be dropped like Owalo, Owalo will not be dropped because he's inefficient. No, he will be dropped because of the political realities. You know, Raila will not openly give 5 names, but 5 names will come from the opposition, and of which 2 will be from maybe Raila and 1 from Kalonzo, 1 from whatever, 1 from. Those are the 5. And I don't expect those people who have been seen to be anti-Raila. I don't want to imagine that those people in the UDA who have been seen to be anti-Raila will be selected as cabinet secretary. Why? You know, the friendship that Raila has with the Ruto now, the perennial handshakes, but you know, we are talking of you know, these other handshakes are before camera and whatever. But this one might have happened below the table. So Raila will have a say, even if he doesn't have a say, but I expect people from Luo land who will be made the cabinet ministers, cabinet secretaries, to be people friendly to Raila. Same to Coast. The former governor for Kwale, the cabinet secretary for mining. Don't be shocked if somebody like Joho is taken. You see, for Raila to get, let's say, 2 or even 3 cabinet places, Joho could be taken, and then somebody from Lowland. And then we have very strong people from, let's say, Kisiland. I don't expect Machogu to come back. And that is how it is going. It is going to be a lean one, 15 people, 5 directly from loyal to the president. 5 from UDA or Kenya Kwanza, 5 sympathetic to Kenya, Azimio, and 5 from other places such as pressure groups and whatever, or even academy. You can see that apart from Matiang'i strong feelings with the president, but we may find another Matiang'i as somebody else who can be appointed and work, who has never had any political experience. That is it. Then I expect other heads to roll. At the level of principal secretary, I expect some heads to roll. I wanted to finish off by saying I also expect heads to roll in the NSAC. Nurdin, nakungoja Garissa. Nakungoja Garissa. I will prepare Forno, Nyirinyiri, Aleso, Forno, Nyirinyiri, na Anjere. Nurdin is going. And most of the directors of intelligence are going. We are going to have new ones. Don't expect those that, we have some whom Regigi wanted them back. I don't expect them to be back. But the directors who are there, I expect them to go to desk. Inspector General, yeah, you may go. You may go. To me, I have a lot of faith in you, not because, you see, when I was a cadet inspector, that is around that time is when the Inspector General was a recruit. But he's going, it's not that he's inefficient or anything. I think I've even recorded that in my past when he was the PPO Nairobi. I was recommending that he be made the commandant of GSU, but then he's now the boss, and that is where we have problems. Like Mr. Nyaseda was better placed as the director of CID, was made the Inspector General. I think that one is there. And if you ask me if an AP can or should be made an Inspector General, I retract my earlier recommendation, because the problem with the AP is that you touch on one, you touch all of them. They have this mob psychology. You go and complain it of a very junior person, and you'd even find gazetted officers in the AP. They are ready to defend that person. With the police general duties, general duties police, you have a problem, they say you go solve the problem, when you have solved it, come back. So with the AP, if you take an AP to be the Inspector General, no day will you ever complain about any police officer. He'll always defend that. He would even want to go home defending his fellow AP or his fellow police officer. So I expect heads to roll, not in the KDF, not in the KDF. But my neighbor-in-law, Aden Duale, I'm also placing him among the 5. He's too close to the president to be left, and there has never been any problem with the defense when he has been there. He has been having working relationship with us. I can talk again and again and again, but let us watch. It is good to talk earlier, so that when things happen, you can always accept hapa nilikosa na hapa nilipata, isn't it? Thank you.